Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So in my last videos, I have showed you how to create a MySQL database and MySQL database connection PHP and how to insert data and fetch data. So from today video, I'm gonna show you how to do CRUD operations using PHP. So let's get started. First, you guys need to make sure open SAMP application and start Apache and MySQL servers. And I have done some parts of this project, so let me show you. So inside ht.docs folder, which is in SAMP folder, I have created CRUD project PHP. Inside that, I have index.php, update.php. These are the client-side files. And in the backend, I have database connection and all the backend parts for delete, update, and insert data. If I open this index.php, so this is index.php and this is the database connection. So I have created a database. Let me show you quickly. So this is a student form database. Inside that database, I have students. So in here, student ID, student name, student age, and student grade. So you can see we have one value here. So now I again move to index.php and I'm going to create a form for insert that data. So we need HTML tags. I'm going to type doc type HTML and HTML plus HTML. Inside that HTML tags, we have head and body. I'm going to, yes, we have header and we have body. Okay. So inside this body, I'm going to create a form. So I have already created it. So I'm going to copy and paste. So in here, our action is in the back end folder, which is in here. We need this insert std data.php file to insert data. So inside this form, we have 3 input field for student name, student age, and student grade, and we have this input for submit button. And please make sure to put unique name for each input field. So that's how backend identify correct value for this input. Okay, now I have created my form. So I'm going back to my insert stt data.php file, which is in backend folder. So I have that file in here. So inside this file, I'm going to type backend code for insert data. So if you guys remember in my previous videos, so you already know how to do it. So I'm going to add that code in here. So first, this line is used to include the database connection. So I already put it, and in here is set we use because only click this submit button, we need to insert these data. So that's why we check this submit button, click or not. So for that we use if statement. Inside that if statements, we have these three variables for name, age, and grade. And in here we have unique name, student name, which is in here, state name, age, grade, and inside that, after that, we have a SQL query to insert data, and after that, we have a MySQL I query to add that query to database. So after that, we need to relocate to index.php file. So therefore, we use this header function. Okay, I'm gonna save these two files, and I'm going to my browser and refresh. Okay, now you can see my form. Let me type surname Neha, age 20, grade 13A. I'm going to click submit button. If I go to the table and refresh it, you can see our record is already added. Okay, now I'm going to fetch data. So same thing, watched if you have watched my previous videos, you know how to fetch data, but I'm going to show you it using table. I haven't used table before. Okay, so we need the table. So I'm going to table, and inside that table we have headers. Okay, so first column is for student name, age, grade, and last column is for action, which is used for delete and update record. And after that, I need a PHP tag to fetch data. So we need to use that PHP tag inside this table because we use a table to fetch data. So I'm going to type PHP. Then if you guys remember, we need a SQL query. For select statement we need, then we need to connect that query with our database connection. Now after that we check how many rows do we have. So if if it's greater than 0, that means we have records. So I'm going to type if condition, if parentheses and curly brackets. So I'm now copy this result check, and if it is greater than 0, we use a while loop to fetch all data. That's why we use while loop. For fetch, we have a keyword called MySQL I fetch assoc. So, okay, this is the MySQL fetch assoc keyword, and inside that parentheses, we used result variable as a parameter. Now we need for variables, which is first one for ID, name, age, and grade. And these are our column names of a table. Then we need to echo the records. So I'm going to type echo and single quotes, semicolon. Inside that, we need to type table row and close it. And after that, we need the TD tag. Inside that TD, we're gonna put these variables. So student name, which is this variable. So I'm going to use single quotes and two dots. Inside that two dots, we going to use this variable, and I'm going to age, grade. Last one we don't need, so actually we use like this last line for update and delete, so therefore we need two buttons. So I'm type button type equal double quotes button. Type should be a button. If it's an input, it should be a submit. And we need to close button tag. So inside this button, we need to hide, add the link to update.php page. So I need a href equal double quotes and in here you type update, and I'm going to copy this one and paste it in here, and I type this is for delete. Okay, I'm not going to type anything in here for now. Just give me a second for that. Before that, let me save this one, and if I go to my browser and refresh, okay, we got some error. Let me check what's one in undefined variable con. Okay, undefined variable con. Let me, I have saved this one. Why? Okay. So the issue is I haven't included my database connection, database file here. So if I'm going to copy this one, and inside this PHP, I'm going to paste it here, but we need type more here because now we are in the index.php file, but our database connection file is in this backend folder. So I'm going to type backend slash dbcon.php. Let me save and refresh. Okay. Now you can see student name, age, grade, and action, update, delete. So let me add another name, John, 25, 10, A. Okay, now you can see the John has been added to our table. Okay, now I'm going to delete a record. So you can see our delete button here. And if I click this button, we need to relocate to our delete stt data.php file. So our delete std data php file is in backend folder, is in the backend folder. So we're going inside this href. I'm going to type backend folder slash our delete std data.php file. After .php, I'm going to type question mark and type some string here. So this can be any name, but please make sure it's a unique value or understandable value. So I'm going to type ID and equal. So for delete some record, we need our primary key. So we need to add our primary key in here. So single quotes, two dots, inside two dots, our variable value. Okay. I'm going to save, and if I refresh this button and click this delete button, then you can see we are moved to delete stddata.php file, and ID is let me show you why this percentage mark. Okay. Okay. Now ID equal 4, which is, let me refresh because we couldn't see. Okay, now we can see a John record. So in here, our ID is 4, which is this record. So that's why we use that question mark dot ID. So after going to this page, we take this ID from this URL using get method. Then we delete that particular record. So let me quickly show you how to do it. So you can see our delete stddata.php file. I need PHP tags, PHP, close the tag, and first we need to include the database connection. We don't need that backend folder because this delete stddata.php file is already inside this backend folder. And in here we type if condition, if parentheses and curly bracket. Inside this parentheses we use get method to get that primary key. So is set brackets dollar underscore get square bracket and single quotes. So in here we should type ID, which is in here, and here if we use a different name, we should add that name inside here. Okay, now we need a variable to store that ID. I'm going to type $ID equal get ID and semicolon. Now we need our delete query. So I'm going to type delete query variable double quotes and semicolon. Now we are going to type delete query here. Delete from our table name students where what is our ID column name? std ID. std underscore ID equal to this ID and semicolon. After that, we need database connection. For that, MySQLi underscore query and our DB connection and this delete query. and semicolon. And after that, we need to relocate to index.php file. So we need header function. Going to copy this one and paste it in here. Now I'm going to save this file, and also I'm going to refresh this file, and if I delete, you can see XOS has been deleted. If I click on Neha to this delete button, you can see Neha is deleted. Okay, let's move on to update part. So let's go to index.php. So you can see our update button. So this time we don't need to type backend because our update.php file is in here, not backend folder. So just type update.php and question mark. Do the same thing in here. ID, save it. So if I click update button, now we are going to update our PHP file. Inside that file, we need a form to update that record. So I'm going to copy all of this and paste it in here. Now we don't need this insert std_data.php file. Instead of that, we need update std_data.php. I have already created that file inside our backend folder, and this one also method is post. Now we don't need this table, so I'm going to remove this table and I'm going to cut this one and paste it in here. If I click this update button, let me refresh. Now we move to update.php file and ID equal to 6, which means this record John. We use get method so we need ID variable equal $sign underscore get square bracket and ID. Now we took that ID value and is stored in this ID variable. Now we need to fetch that value that related to that ID. So I'm going to type a query here. select all from students where std underscore id equal to id and semicolon. Now we have this result variable which is used to make a connection with the database connection, and we use this result check MySQL num rows keyword to check is there any records here. If it is more than 0, that means we have record. But this time we don't need a while loop because we don't need to fetch all the data that are in the table. We only need the ID6 records. So we don't need this while loop. I'm going to remove this curly bracket and this line, these things, and I'm put semicolon here. Okay, now we need these things, and also we don't need echo because we don't need to print anything in here. But if we click, let me save my file first, go back, refresh. If I click update, you can see that form, but we couldn't see any record in here that related to ID6. Therefore, we have keyword called value. So inside these input fields, we type value equal double quotes. Inside this value, we need to put this variable here, but we need to echo because this is not inside the PHP tag. So therefore we type PHP tag in here. Now we can echo records. So echo single quotes, again single quotes and 2 dots, and name. I'm going to copy all these things and paste it in here and here, and copy each and paste it in here, and create, copy and paste it in here, and I'm going to save it. If I go to the browser, you can see now our record that related to the ID6 are visible. John, age 25, grade 10th A. Okay. Now let's move to this update std data.php file. After clicking this submit button, we are moved to this page. So for update part, I'm going to type PHP. That's it. and need to include our database. This time I'm going to copy all of this and paste it in here instead of typing everything. So we included our database connection and check is set, submit, and this time we need get method, type $sign ID because we need the primary key to update that record. So $_get star brackets and ID, which is this ID. Semicolon, and we need update query. So I have to type it in here. We need to remove this one, and we need to type update. Okay, update student. This column name, std name, std age, std grade, where std id equal to this id. And we have MySQL like query, and after all that we need to relocate to index.php file. Okay, now it's finished. Let me save this one, and I'm going to refresh. I type 30 and click submit. Let me, why this happened, I didn't undefined array key ID, line 4, line 4. Okay, I get this one because in here we don't want use get method, we need to use post method. And inside this update.php we need another input field, and that one used for ID. But this time type is not text, it should be hidden because we don't need to our ID to the inside this input field. So that's why we used it as hidden input. And this time I type ID and value should be ID. And we don't need the placeholder. And this ID name value, I'm going to save this one and should be in here. ID. Okay, I'm going to save this one. And if I go to the browser and refresh back, refresh 30. Okay, now it's changed it to 30. Let me update again. John D. Yeah, let me change his name. Now name is changed to John D. Bear. Okay, so I hope you guys got some idea about CRUD operation using PHP. So if you like this video, please subscribe my YouTube channel. So if you have anything to say, please comment it. And yeah, if you guys think this will help to your friends, so please share this video with them. So until the next video, goodbye.